Hi guys, CJMinecraft here. Welcome to another Minecraft modding tutorial. Today I'm going to teach you how to add block states to your block. Now, a block state is a bit like meta, but you can have like different types. So there's 4 different types, I believe, 4 different properties. So you've got PropertyEnum, which we're going to be covering today, which uses an enum, i.e. we're going to be using our enum here, the chip types. You've got property bool, which is a boolean, so either true or false. You've got property integer, which is a number, and property direction, which is like a direction. So we can be, this will be over 4 tutorials, 1 for each property. Today we're going to add the one for the property enum. So ours is going to be block. Now I'm going to do a block breaker. So block breaker, and this extends block, all the normal stuff that we have to do. So import that and go create a constructor which has to super a material. So material. Now, first thing I need to do is actually create our block state. Now, all block states have to have if it's property enum, has to implement iString serializable, which is this. And there's a couple of stuff that we need to do. So public static final property enum. I'm just going to call this type equal to property enum dot create, and we're going to use the top one, and the name is going to be type, and the class is going to be chip types. So chip types dot class, which if we just get rid of this, just import this like so and put a semicolon on that will like us. So yeah, that's we've sort of created our property enum. Now we need to say that we have one. So create block state, and we're going to return a new block state. Now this is updated in 1.10. It's block state container. The blocking is this, and the properties is a new iProperty array. Open it up, and it's just type for us. Say if you had another, I need to spell property, iProperty. There you go. So say you've got like one for type, and then you got a property bool or something for like activated or something. You just put like comma activated, if that's what you've called it. So that's basically all of our properties go in here. Now, in here, we need to set our default state. So this is like whatever state it should start off with. So this dot set default state, this dot block state dot get base state dot with property, and it's just going to be type, and the property is going to be chip types dot, and it's just going to be basic. Control Shift O. Hello. Did I spell it wrong? Oh, but clip types. Okay, that's clever me. So chip types. So that's our default state. Now we need to, all block states have a get meta from state and a get state from meta. Now this is because, say you do like a set block, and you do /set block where I am like stone. There's 6 different variants. You got normal stone, andesite, granite, and then diorite, and you got the polished versions of those 3. So counting in Java starts from 0, and that's the meta, the number, but it has a different block state. And there's a way to do this. So all we need to do is we need to get the chip types, the type equals, cast it to the chip types, and we're just going to do state dot get value, and then it's the property which is type. So there we go, we've got the type, and then all we need to do is return type dot get ID. So if the type was basic, it'll return 0, so damage is 0 like our metadata, and if it's 1, it'll return advanced, like so. Now get state from meta is also quite easy. This dot get default state dot with property type. Now the value of it is going to be chip types dot values taken in the meta. So if meta is 0, it's going to return the first value, i.e. the basic. If meta is 1, it's going to return the advanced version. And it's as simple as that. Like metadata, we need to add a get sub blocks method, like so. And then all this does is going to do a for int I is 0, I is smaller than chip types dot values, not values of, dot length. So we're going to go through all of our chip types, and then what we're going to do is going to add a block appropriately. So it's just list dot add new item stack item in, the amount is 1 and the damage is I. So that's exactly what we did for metadata. Now we don't have like a proper item block for this, and that's what we need to add. So we need to add our item block. So in the blocks package, we're going to add a new package called item. So this is where all of our item blocks are going to do, and I'm going to call it item block breaker. Now before we fill this in, I want to quickly make an interface. So by clicking this drop down box, click on interface, which is going to represent all of our blocks that should have metadata. So IMetaBlockName. So this is just going to return our block name, but we need to just make it so that our block breaker is an instance of this, and all it is a string get special name, and it's item stack, and just close it off, import that, and that's just going to say if you implement this, then you have to have this method. Now I'll show you why we've got this later, because we're going to use this in our block breaker item blocks. So what we need to do is now implement IMetaBlockName. Control Shift O to import it, and it'll get us to make that method on the end, the get special name. It's going to return a string. Now all we need to do is return chip types dot values, open up stack dot get item damage, and we've got the correct one, so all we need to do is get the name. And what I'll do is, if say the damage of the item is 0, it'll get the first thing in this, in the values of this, so it'll just get the basic, and then it will return the name. Okay, so that's all we need to do in our block class. Now in here, our item block needs to extend item block. Control Shift O to import this, and this will make us have a constructor which takes in the block. Now we want to do if, the block isn't an instance of IMetaBlockName, then we're like, oh hey, this isn't one of our meta blocks, and we need to put this in brackets, so then it won't be able to do what we need to do. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just throw an exception saying, hey bro, you've done something wrong, like so. So if you just copy down this, it's quite easy. Just formatting a string. If you want to look at it like this, you can. just formatting a string. I might even put this in the description if I'm kind enough for you, which will just put in the unlocalized name here. And yep, that's saying hey, you've done something wrong and basically crash your game, which is good because it tells you you've done something wrong. Now, like metadata, we need to do this dot set has subtypes to true, and this dot set max damage to 0, so it can't be damaged. So that's say like the item has like actual damage, you know, like damage bar. That will do that for us. Now we want to do the get unlocalized name method with the item stack. So all we need to do is super.getUnlocalizedName, the normal one, and then want to add a dot. Now this is where our IMetaBlockName comes in. So IMetaBlockName, and that is, and then here it's this dot block. So it actually stores the block that we put in. And then what we're going to do, we're going to surround this in brackets to say that this our block is an instance of this IMetaBlockName.get special name with the stacking. So this is where this method comes in. That's why we had to have that class, just so that here we can just make sure that they have this method, which just gives us the correct block name. So let's go over to our mod blocks. In here, let's make our block. So public now, our registered block method will now need to be changed. So we're just going to make a new one. And we're just going to put in the item block. And like so, here, we're just going to put this here. Just slot that in there, which will just set the registry name appropriately. And then we need to just do register block is the second one. So breaker, now the item block is a new item block breaker, and we put in our breaker here, and then it just like the register and the renders for the other one, need to make a for loop. So for int I equals 0, I is smaller than enum handler dot chip types dot values dot length I plus plus. So go through all of these and register render. Now I'm just going to go to our mod items and get our other register render method, like so, and place this down here. It's just register render the item. Well, I'm just going to put that block item dot get item from block like so. Let's fix it up, and this is just block here, and here it is our breaker. The metadata is I, and the file name is enum handler dot chip types dot values I dot get the name. So basic, and then can put like basic underscore, and what I want to do on it should be like breaker block underscore breaker underscore basic is like the name. So block underscore breaker underscore, then adds that. So put this on the end of it. And last thing, we need to actually get our item variants done. So model bakery dot register item variants item dot get item from block mod blocks dot breaker. The names, like before, is a new resource location reference dot mod ID, and it's just block underscore breaker underscore basic. And I'm just going to copy this and block underscore breaker underscore advanced, like so. So now we've got this all registered, which is absolutely amazing. Now, so let's just go to our assets folder. So let's head over to where our mod is and go to so yep. In a block state, we need a new text document, and it's block underscore breaker dot JSON, like so. Let's open up this. Let's do variance. Now, whereas before it was normal, we can actually define our variant correctly now. So it's whatever we called it in our. It's whatever we called it here. So this is type. So it type, then it's equal to whatever it's called in the enum handler. So it's basic. Type equals basic colon. Open it up. Model colon, and then it's just mod ID colon, and then block underscore breaker underscore basic, and I'm just going to copy this over here like so and set it to advanced and put this to advanced. Now that's our block state, which will just say go to this model for that one. So yeah, so we need to make a new model, which is actually going to be quite easy. Now, I would say if you did a lot, and I mean a lot, if you did an absolute metric butt ton of block states, your block states file is going to be massive, and also you're going to need a ton of models. But hopefully when I do a tutorial on how to do energy pipes, which are possible, I'm going to teach you how to compact the amount of models that you do in that tutorial. It's really quite cool. So we're going to do tile dot block underscore breaker dot basic dot name equals block breaker, and just in brackets I'm just going to put basic, and then tile dot block breaker dot advanced dot name equals block breaker advanced, like so. Now obviously this is going to do the same with our actual chips. So let's go make ourselves some textures in paint.net, which hopefully I'll leave a link to in the description. So yeah, that's our textures, which you should be able to actually run the game now, and we should be able to see our item and blocks fully in the game. Okay, so the game has loaded up. We've got no texture errors in the log, which is outstanding, guys. Outstanding. So we should be able to see this in our creative tab for blocks. Got the basic block breaker. Yes, the texture, I agree, absolutely fugly. And now look, here's a problem. It places it as basic. Now I've seen a lot of you get these problems on my previous tutorial, like what? And that's because we forgot some methods. So the first one is actually get pick block. And what we're going to do is turn a new item stack. First the item, so item.getItem from block. Mod this. Then the amount is 1, and then the damage is actually get meta from state world dot get block state at the pos, and that will get us the correct item. Now we need to do damage drop, so it drops the right amount of damage. So just return get meta from state here. So a method that I forgot to add in the item class is get metadata, and it's as simple as returning the damage. And you don't need the override for this one. It's just like this, and this should fix up that issue. Okay, so the game has loaded up, and hopefully that method in our item block should fix up everything that we need it to do. And it does. Yes, that is beautiful. So that is actually our block state. Now you can actually see this block state over here. Type equals basic, and type equals advanced, corresponding to our chips. So we could, like, it's probably going to be the crafting recipes that are going to change for these between the two variants. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I am out.